Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Couch-Brotatopodcast. On today's show, to celebrate the upcoming Winter Olympic Games, Lucas and I are going to sit down and talk about 2004's Miracle, which stars Kurt Russell, about the 1980 Miracle on Ice. If you like what we're doing here on the show, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. We greatly appreciate it. It kind of gives the show some exposure, and it just proves to people that there are people out there in the world that listen to us. So either way, we do appreciate it. So, coming up after the trailer, we present to you Miracle.
America's top critics believe in miracles. From the studio that brought you Remember the Titans and The Rookie, Miracle will have you on the edge of your seat.
And this is something that this country is ready for.
We can beat these guys. It's 2 thumbs up. Kurt Russell gives the performance of his career.
This is your time.
You'll stand up and cheer for this stunning achievement.
What do you play for? USA!
Miracle. Own it today on Disney DVD.
Hello, and welcome to the Couch Potato Podcast. I am Russ, and with me as always is Lucas. Lucas, what's happening, man?
Not much. I think we're running into a new cursed episode.
Well, no, it's nothing will beat our Die Hard episode. That's true. That thing took, 3 or 4 tries before we finally got it. Some resulted in me talking to a cardboard cutout of Chewbacca. My son tried to watch it with me, and then come to find out our SD card was corrupted, and I didn't realize it until about an hour into the movie.
Yeah, this one isn't as bad, but we just we keep having some technical difficulties right now.
Yeah, it all results from me updating my laptop because we do this over video chat. It all basically resulted from me updating my computer to a Windows 11.
Well, I also have Windows 11, so maybe Windows 11 is just the new Vista.
This is actually the first time I've had an opportunity to use it. It's because I updated my computer right after we got done with the last episode.
Well, welcome to Vista.
Yeah, I don't fucking like it so far. I didn't think we were going to even get to record this tonight. My computer was running super slow. I kept clicking on Skype to start this up, and it just wouldn't even bring it up. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? I thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be one of those episodes where I'm going to have to do it by myself again.
I tell you what, though, Microsoft, if you want to sponsor us, Windows 11 is the best thing we've ever touched.
Oh, yeah. Smooth as peanut butter. We love Windows 11. I mean, it's the greatest thing ever invented. I mean, I say that with just since the absolute most sincerity. This is the greatest thing I've ever messed with in my entire life.
Perfect.
Perfect is not a strong enough word. All right. Well, enough of us trying to pander to Microsoft to get sponsorship. Today's episode, to celebrate the upcoming Winter Olympic Games, which I think start on the 9th, which is this Thursday. No, it's not. The 9th is
Thursday.
Not. Yeah, I'm getting my dates confused. It's just basically my calendar has stopped since March of 2020. Basically everything blends together now. I just separate the days by the hot days and the cold days.
And it's a lot more cold these days.
Right. So yeah, we're in a Winter 3. That's what I'm calling it for right now. Winter 2 or Winter 3, whatever. But we're doing Miracle today, the 2004 Kurt Russell hockey movie, which for those of you that haven't listened to the show too much, I am a huge Kurt Russell fan, so I'm very, very happy to be doing this. And it's hockey, which it's a sport that I think is severely underrated, especially here in the United States. Deserves a little bit more love.
I enjoy it. I actually watched, since we're in Ohio, I watched the Blue Jackets tonight. Kick the shit out of the Canadians, which, at least somebody was kicking the shit out of the Canadians.
But we do love our Canadian listeners. We do love you, Canada.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Unless you play the U.S. in soccer, and then I hate you.
Now, he doesn't mean that. Lucas is just in a bitter, bitter mood today. All right.
It's not been my sporting day.
We're not even going to get into
I
that.
digress.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because last time you start talking about that, fucking system froze up and locked up.
That's true.
So we're not even going to fucking touch that now. So speaking of Miracle, Lucas, when's the first time you've seen this? Because I think you told me that it hasn't been that long ago that you've seen this, right?
No, it's only been a couple years ago. As you know, before I was with my current lady, I had some love life issues, so I ended up moving in with my sister for a while. And she actually one night was like, "Hey, let's watch Miracle." I was like, "Okay, I've never seen it, but I'm down to watch it." So actually, my sister introduced me to this movie.
Good job, Lucas's sister. I'm not going to mention names just because I don't know if she's in witness relocation or what.
I hope not.
I hope not either, not for your guys' sake. I mean, so first time a couple of years ago, huh?
Yeah. What was that, about 3-4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I was actually blown away by how good it is.
Yeah, I went and seen this in movie theaters the weekend it came out because this came out around the same time. I think it was during the Winter Olympics, or the Winter Olympics had just ended. I don't know, the Olympics kind of run together anymore. But yeah, it was like right in that wheelhouse. Disney was just coming out with these just awesome sports movies. I think, Remember the Titans was first.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, very good movie. Will be an episode of this show at one point or another.
As it should be.
The Rookie, I think, was next with Dennis Quaid, which is the story of Jim Morris, who was a science teacher at a Texas high school. It used to be a pitcher, and he tries out for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and ends up making the team. That's a really good movie too. And then this one came out. I think this movie came out after. If I'm wrong, please, I do apologize. Don't send me any hateful emails, or as I've been noticing lately on the old podcast email, I am not interested in meeting a Latin American man. I've noticed on the podcast email, it's either I have been chosen for $1,000 Amazon gift card, or Latin American men seem to be interested in this show.
Rush, you're not trying to do a horizontal salsa dance?
No, I'm not. Not interested in the least bit. And it's probably just a scam to get my credit card information anyways.
Probably.
So you are familiar with the premise of this. For those of you that do not know, this is Miracle is based on the 1980 United States Olympic hockey team beating the Russians, which at that point would be the equivalent of a high school football team beating, I don't know a good example. I would say the Kansas City Chiefs, but Chiefs, I'm not going to rub it in Chiefs fans today. But it would be the equivalent of a high school team beating an NFL team.
Yeah, it was a major upset.
Yeah. I mean, and the Russians had won every Olympic gold medal since, I think they said in the movie 1960 was the last time the United States had beaten the Russians in hockey.
Actually, a good example of like of an Olympic upset is when the United States didn't win the gold in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, when Dream Team 3 or 4 shit the bed.
Yeah, what was that 2004, 2008?
Something like that,
Yeah.
Like I said, the Olympics run together anymore.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this was a monumental upset. This is when the United States, for a lot of their sports, you had to be an amateur. So today, they allow the NBA players to play in the Olympics for the basketball team. For a while, the NHL was allowing the players to play. I think they put the kibosh on that this year because of COVID.
Yep.
But yeah, the NHL was allowing players to play in the Olympics up until this year. So yeah, I mean, it was a huge upset. But since you are familiar with this, and Lucas, you and I being huge sports fans, where would you rank this among the greatest sports moments of all time?
Sports moments?
Yeah.
It's got to be, as far as United States sports, it's got to be pretty high up there. hell, even overall sports moments, it's probably a top 10 sports moment in the world. Just because, the USSR was so big, especially in the 80s, before it crumbled in the late 80s, early 90s. Russia had, pretty much all of Eastern Europe in its control. So, you're going up against not only Russians, but all those other countries that were intermixed in there. All their greatest athletes that played hockey were intermixed in there. So it's a pretty big deal. It's a big giant upset. I'd say probably top 10 all time major sporting events.
Yeah. Well, they even put it in context. The Russian national team, the one that the United States beat in the Olympics, they had an exhibition with a group of NHL All-Stars, the best of the best in the NHL, and the Russians kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah, it was 6-0, I think.
I think so, yeah. I mean, the NHL is the premier hockey league in the entire world, and the Russian team beat the shit out of, like, the best of the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these guys that were on the Russian team were playing in the NHL equivalent over there in Russia. I think I know it's the KHL now, but I don't know what it was then.
Yeah, there were some guys, like I'm not good with the names offhand, but I know some of the guys that played on the Russian teams ended up playing in the NHL later on. 'Cause I know the Red Wings had a couple of guys for sure, because I have a friend of mine that likes those dirt bags in Detroit. I'm not a Red Wings fan. Never have been, never will be.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, positive. Detroit, you guys are great, but I do not like your hockey team. But yeah, I would say for me, like I was 2 when this. I wasn't even 2 yet when this happened, so I can't really say off memory how great it was. But I think just from the stuff that I've read and watching it, and then like this movie, it probably has to be number 1. I can't really think of anything else that has the legacy that this does. Like, 40 years later.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? I know international soccer a little bit better, but I'd say probably like the Maradona hand of God might be more widely recognized around the world than this.
I know for me, the only ones that I could think of would be Kirk Gibson's home run in the 88 series, where he's limping with the 2 bad hamstrings, the Jordan flu game.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of some other ones here. When the drive, well, not the drive, but when Montana brings the 49ers back in the Super Bowl against the Bengals. That's a pretty iconic moment. Or hell, even just recently when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl with the Patriots.
Yeah.
It was the whole, like, in the whole aftermath of 9/11. I mean, that's a pretty iconic sports moment as well. But, I mean, just from the stuff I've read, and then, like, I don't know, I think the game's still on YouTube. I remember watching it on there, like, 4 or 5 years ago. You can catch, like, the edited version of it. I mean, it's a really good hockey game.
But yeah, I mean, it ended up, 3-2?
4-3.
4-3. Yeah, it's fun. I just watched the fucking movie and I couldn't even remember that. But I mean, yeah, that high scoring of a hockey game, and just the whole underdog story. It's got to be highly ranked for sure. It is a miracle that they won.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the movie's title just captures the whole moment perfectly. I mean, it was a miracle that the United States even got that far, let alone they beat the unbeatable.
That's true.
Because, I mean, the United States had struggled in hockey for quite a few years. I don't think they were even that good later on until the NHL started letting the players play.
Yeah, now they're a mainstay in medal games, but yeah.
Yeah. I got one last question for you before we get into the categories. Are you a fan of the Olympics? I mean, do you watch it? Because it made me wonder, like, do the Olympics still have, like, the cultural significance that they used to? Because I remember when I was a kid, the Olympics, like, when the Olympics were on, like shit got shut down and like that's all you're watching. And now it just seems like, hey, cool, the Olympics are on. And if I'm bored, okay, maybe I'll watch the luge. But I mean, like, it doesn't seem to like have the significance that it used to. I mean, at least I think so. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. The way that you described it is actually, in my opinion, pretty perfect. I still do watch the Olympic Games. I watch more of the summer games than I do the winter games.
See, I'm the opposite.
I do like the speed skating and stuff, but I like handball in the Summer Olympics and like water polo, like all the weird games that you don't normally get to watch. So I watch more of the summer, but it's more of if I have time to watch them. Because some of these things, like the last Summer Olympics that just happened, I found out about like who won before it even showed up on TV because it would happen at like 3-4 a.m. And obviously, with us working, I can't stay up till 3-4 a.m. to watch the Olympic Games. So, I guess maybe if it were in an Eastern time zone type Olympics, maybe I'd pay a little bit more attention. But I can't say that it has the luster that it used to. I think money has really gotten into the Olympics more and made it more politicky, and governments kind of use it as a politicky type thing, and that's not for me. I just want pure sport.
Well, when you said too that you usually found out before it aired on TV, I mean, that's a really good point too. I think sports is like the last like entertainment type of commodity that you have to watch it live or else it loses its effectiveness. Like for me, like I can't watch something that I already know the result to, unless it's like something like an iconic game, or like because I know ESPN Classic used to be a big thing, and like my brother and I used to be the type like, oh hey, they're showing like game 1 of the 88. Speaking of the Gibson World Series, like game 1 of the 88 World Series, like yeah, I'd sit and watch that just because it's like I remember that as a kid, and like you still get to relive that iconic moment. But if I would have found out ahead of time who won that game, I probably would have never watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't watch DVR live sports. It just doesn't work for me, especially because, with our cell phones, anything that happens anywhere in the world, we know about it within 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, like I don't get too many notifications on my phone, but the one app that I always get notifications on is Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
And my favorite sports. So like if say like I'm a fan of the Blue Jackets, the hockey team, like if I wanted to know who won, like it would instantly tell me as soon as the game's over, like, hey, Columbus won 3-2.
Yeah.
I have no need to go watch the game now because I already know who won. So it's like it takes all the drama out of it.
Right. And that's what sport is about. It's about, watching and enjoying and raising your blood pressure. I think that's why sports movies work so well. Even if, like, say, for example, this movie, I didn't know necessarily what the premise was about this movie before I watched it. But then, you're watching, you kind of get the gist of it as you start watching. You kind of figure out, oh, the United States is going to win this. This is a big deal. But it's not like you're watching the actual game, so the drama is still there. But if, like you said, if you knew about this beforehand, what are the chances you would have tuned in and watched anyway? Probably not.
Right, yeah. Good. Well, what's funny is they mentioned that this was on a tape delay.
Yeah, which true. I actually have that, I believe, in my my research corner. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, like I'm not as pumped up about the Olympics anymore. Man, there's stuff I'll watch. Like I'm a huge curling fan.
Oh yeah,
I'll watch. Awesome. I'll watch shit out of that. Like I don't give. Like hell, I know the last Winter Games I was up till like 1:00 in the morning watching fucking Belgium against like Czechoslovakia in like the second round of curling. Like, fuck, sign me up.
That's fucking sweet.
And I was trying to like see if I could do that on my kitchen floor. If I find stuff I don't have a big enough kitchen floor now, so I couldn't do it. But my mom's house, like my brother and I tried that in 2000. We tried that at my mom's.
Get you a couple pots and pans.
Yeah, it didn't work. My mom's floor was slick enough.
I do know where you can go curling. There is a curling club in a city very close to here.
Oh, well. As soon as we're done recording this, I need you to give me the address. Maybe I will ask for that as a birthday gift.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, you ready to knock these categories out?
I am.
All right. Miracle was released on February the 20th, 2004. This movie stars the incomparable Kurt Russell, Patricia Clarkson, and Noah Emmerich. Those are pretty much like the main three. We'll get into some of the other cast here in a minute. This was directed by Gavin O'Connor, who I believe he'd done Warrior too, the MMA movie with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, which is a fucking awesome movie as well.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, dude. I've got that on the list of movies to do at some point. Warrior is awesome. Probably one of the best sports movies of the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I will die on that hill. I'm going to look that up here as soon as I'm done with my notes. Rotten Tomatoes score of 81% from critics and 90% from audiences. This movie made $64.5 million on a $28 million budget. This did not win any awards, and you can stream this on Disney+. Way to go, Disney.
Woo! Put your shit out there for people to watch.
Yeah, we first time we've done a Disney movie here in a while. I went to look up Gavin O'Connor. I put in Garvin.
Close enough. That's his close cousin.
He did do Warrior. He's done Miracle, Warrior, and he did The Way Back, the Ben Affleck basketball movie. It came out right before the pandemic shut movie theaters down.
You mean the one that nobody has seen?
I have seen it. That movie's really, really good. Ben Affleck should have gotten an Oscar nomination for that movie.
Okay, so
considering the
normal human IMDb's haven't seen, you know, like you're like a human IMDb, and I'm like a normal, regular run-of-the-mill movie watcher.
Well, it's not like that was an art house movie. I mean, that movie is readily available in movie theaters, and I own it on our digital video collection, so you have access to it. You can watch it whenever you want.
What you're saying is like Ocean's 11, I have no excuse to have still not watched it.
Well, I can see you not watching The Way Back, but there's no fucking excuse whatsoever why you haven't seen Ocean's 11. None. All right. The Detective William Somerset Research Corner. There's some pretty good stuff. I was actually expecting this to be a little on the lame side. But there's actually some stuff that juicy little tidbits here.
Stuff to dig into.
Yeah. Whet the old appetite, if you will. Most of the cast was chosen primarily for their skills in hockey, not their acting ability. For many of the guys that played the members of Team USA, this is their first acting job. And the one exception is Eddie Cahill, who plays the Team USA goaltender Jim Craig, who you may know from, I think he was in CSI New York.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was. I know he's in one of the CSI shows. Like that's like the Olympics. There's so many CSI shows; they all run together at this point. I know it's not the one with David Caruso.
Yes.
always like the first scene. It was like some grisly murder. Flips on the sunglasses, and then the cue, the Who, and then you know exactly what you're watching. I guess
stands in that power pose with his suit on.
Yeah, David Caruso's in a movie with Russell Crowe called Proof of Life that I kind of want you to see so we can do it as an episode down the road, because David Caruso acts like he's in just a completely different movie. And it's fucking great. Eddie Cahill does have some experience. He was a goaltender in lacrosse. I didn't find out whether it was high school or college, but he does have some goaltender experience.
That's always important.
Kurt Russell, being the stand-up gentleman that he is, took a pay cut so the 800 to 1,000 extras that were used as the hockey fans could have a hot meal from catering instead of a bagged lunch.
That's it's actually really cool. Most actors wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, most actors aren't Kurt Russell though.
That's true.
Herb Brooks, the coach of the 1980 United States hockey team, died in a car accident. Right, I think it was right after they were done shooting this movie.
It said in the end credits, principal photography.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
like,
sure
yeah,
what that
they
means.
that is the initial shoot before they went back. That's if they had to do like reshoots and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the initial filming of the movie is called principal photography.
Okay.
Because they put in that the end, it's like, which I thought was such a cool line. It's like he didn't see it, he lived it.
Yeah, that is cool.
Al Michaels, who does the play-by-play for the original Miracle on Ice, was brought in to do the commentary for the movie, which I did not know until doing the research for this movie that he came back and re-recorded his lines. I thought like they just took all the archive footage from the ABC broadcast and just put it into the movie.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I read that he said it would feel more natural if he came back and redid the commentary.
Yeah. The only line that was left from the original 1980 broadcast of the entire Olympic Games was the "Do you believe in miracles" line, because they felt that Al Michaels would not be able to recreate the emotion of that line. So they just left it in, they just cleaned it up, and they kind of spliced it into the movie that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, they said that it got cleaned up and all that stuff, but you can really tell.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell a little bit, like it doesn't match up with the rest of it.
Yeah, I was also watching for it because I was doing the research for the movie as I was watching. So,
the last one that I have is the players on the 1980 team felt that the movie was a mostly accurate representation of real life events. The lone exception was how friendly the movie portrayed Herb Brooks. I guess apparently Herb Brooks was an asshole. It's not easy to get along with. And I guess the scene where him and Craig Patrick are at the Christmas party, that didn't happen.
Mm. Yeah, they also kind of to make you dislike the Soviets even more. The first goal, it was actually a legal play in the real game. It was like a checking, or what they call that, hooking or something in the movie.
You talking about the gold medal or the semifinal?
Yeah, the game against the Soviets where he tripped him, and then they scored the first goal. That didn't actually happen in the real game.
Yeah.
He like cross-checked him or checked him or something legally, and then stole the puck and scored. It's just a little nitpicky thing. It's really not even that important. I just thought it.
In the overall context of the movie, yeah. I guess one player is on record as saying is we respected Herb, but I wouldn't go so far as to say we liked him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got the job done, though.
The last one that I have is a common misconception about the Miracle on Ice, which I actually thought for the longest time until this movie came out, that the United States defeating the Soviet Union was the gold medal game. And it wasn't. It was the semifinals.
Right.
I thought for the longest time that was the gold medal game, and it wasn't. They had one more game after that.
Yeah, if they would have lost to Finland in the gold medal game or the next game, then they had some kind of point system. The Soviet Union actually would have had the gold medal.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Because I always thought that what happens is they do the point system until they get into the medal round games, and then it's basically like a tournament style where like, okay, you win, you move on, you lose, you're out.
I'm not sure. That's something I read. I don't know if I think that's how it is now, but maybe it was a little different in the 80 games. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would have been so shitty
Yeah.
for that to happen. I mean, I guess if they did, it would have made sense because the United States had the tie.
Yeah.
But then also it would have been shitty for Finland because Finland would have beaten the United States and they still wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah, they would have gotten silver or bronze or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what fun facts do you have for us?
So the game against the Soviets was actually filmed for the movie in Vancouver at the P&E Argodome or Agrodome. Sorry.
Come on, dude, you're making it sound Bush League here. We are legitimate.
This is what's making this sound Bush League.
I think that and just the overall quality and of our show. But I digress. Go ahead.
It's not the only legendary USA versus USSR battle. That is also where Rocky fought Ivan Drago in one of your favorite movies, Rocky IV.
What?
Yep.
Same
arena.
Nice. I'm still disappointed that we haven't done Rocky IV yet. I actually almost thought of doing that as our Christmas movie because Rocky and Ivan fight on Christmas Day. But I'm like, you know what? Like I've been getting hounded to do Christmas Vacation since we started doing this. I'm like, I'll do Christmas Vacation because I listen to the fans. And when I say fans, I mean my wife wanted me to do Christmas Vacation. So
she's the one that matters.
Yeah, she is one of Facebook has the top fans. She would get the top fan badge. My wife and your fiance, and Joey Mitch, who listens to the show religiously as well. He would also get a top fan badge.
Yeah, he whenever I see him at work, he's like, "Oh, I was just listening to you." Like, oh, that's cool. It's a little weird, but cool. Hi, Joey. Kurt Russell is right-handed, but he used his left hand in the movie because Herb Brooks was a lefty. Mm-hmm. So that attention to detail by an actor is phenomenal. That's another reason why he's one of the best actors of all time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Could you imagine that? He's how old do you think Kurt Russell was when they filmed this? This was 2003-ish when they were filming.
Probably I know he had to be in his mid-50s, I think, at that point.
Yeah, so you're doing an entire movie with your offhand. Mm-hmm. And, he's like drawing on the glass there, showing them the plays. That couldn't have been easy.
Oh, no. There's no way I can do it.
Let's see. So the crisis in Tehran in 1980 that they showed on TV when he was sitting down to dinner with his wife, that was what the film Argo was based off of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was, wasn't it?
Yep.
Argo, fuck yourself. Have you seen Argo?
I have. That's a good movie. Very good movie.
Yeah. Okay, I was just making sure I didn't want you to think I was swearing at you for no reason at all. I usually save that for when we're not recording.
I guess I'll go fuck myself, whatever. Now, when I looked at this one, I couldn't figure out if this was for the movie or for the real broadcast. I believe it was for the real broadcast, but Al Michaels memorized the Russian names by playing table hockey.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to guess it was probably for the regular real broadcast. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's how he memorized their names for when he was out there.
Speaking of Al Michaels, I was reading that the only reason he called the hockey is because he was the only broadcaster that ABC had on staff to cover the Olympic Games. He was the only one that had ever done a hockey game before.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Al Michaels, the fucking man.
He is the man.
Still doing it to this day.
Yep.
The voice of Sunday Night Football.
So we talked about this earlier. The game was on a tape delay. The game was at 5 p.m., but it wasn't shown on TV until 8 p.m. And I read that the U.S. Olympic Committee it was ABC. I'm sorry. ABC actually tried to pay the Russian Federation $12,000 to move the game, but they didn't want to do that because it would have been like 4 a.m. Moscow time. Mm-hmm. And I believe that it would have also been like a violation, like a bribery violation of Olympic rules.
Really?
Too. Yeah.
I'm sure now they just would have been like, hey, we're moving this from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Deal with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's some money. Like, oh yeah.
I don't even think they would pay him money. They're just like, hey, because I'm sure now, because NBC pays billions of dollars for the rights to the Olympic Games. I'm sure they just listen, we feel this is going to get a shit ton of viewers. I don't think they would say it just like that, but I think hey, this is going to get a lot of viewers. We're moving this to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because, at the end of the day, they're going to make a ton of money, so.
Well, and that's what like I said, the Olympics are all about that nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is all the research I have.
Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff. The I Drink Your Milkshake Award for the best scene of the movie.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
I think this is pretty cut and dry, but Lucas, I'm curious to hear what you have as yours.
Actually, I'm going a little outside the box with mine. For me, it may not be what wins this, because I think I know what you have as the best scene. But for me, the best scene in the movie was when, at the beginning of the Olympic Games, when Herb Brooks comes into the locker room after the first period against Sweden, and he's yelling at Rob McClanahan about, because he had a leg bruise, and it fires up the whole team for the rest of the Olympics.
Yeah.
To me, that's and he walks out and he's like, "Think that'll get them all fired up?"
I was gonna try to do my best Minnesota accent. That ought to get them all fired up.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. I've actually when I was watching the movie, I rewound that at least 10 times to try to nail that just for this show. That's kind of shit I put into this program.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The kind of dedication I have for everybody.
Yeah, that to me was the best scene. Now I don't know if it'll, like I said, I don't think it's going to win best scene, but that to me, like being a coach, sometimes like you said, Herb Brooks was a dick, and sometimes you have to be you have to be an asshole to your team sometimes to motivate them, like, to make them so angry at you that they go and they take it out on
everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought that as a coach, that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good scene. I know for me, I really wanted to give it to the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the scene, because I thought about it, and I had that down originally, was the whole hockey game between the Russians and the Americans. Because, I mean, that was really well filmed. Like, they filmed that really well.
Yeah.
And the fact that you kind of know what's going to happen, I think, and they still made it tense. Like, I've seen Miracle at least 10 times, and I think it still was as tense as it was the first time I'd seen it. And even when I seen it for the first time, I already knew the story of the Miracle on Ice anyways. It's not like I went into that like, oh, well, hockey, Russians, Americans, shit, like what happens here? But I gave it to the Herb Brooks speech right before the game.
Oh yeah, that was great. The speech itself is really phenomenal. When you're coaching and you try to come up with something really great.
Yeah. Yeah, that speech is phenomenal. And for me, if I was playing for him, listen, coach, I can't skate for shit, but if you need me, I'm going to be out there. I'll body check somebody. If you need somebody to go on the boards, you need me to fight one of these guys, I'll fucking do it. And I think that scene too is pretty iconic because I know I've been to a couple sporting events where they've played that. As a matter of fact, I think they've played. I think I've even seen it at a Blue Jackets game before they played it in the intermission. So I think just that alone, and I think it's probably one of the best. Let's get them fired up speeches in any sports movie I've seen.
And he just walks out of there cold. There's no hoorah from the players.
Yeah, I think that's what's so awesome about it. It's just goddamn, I don't know how to react to that. He tells them 9 times out of 10 they're going to beat us, but not tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when your coach has that much faith in you, or he's just like, oh yeah, we're going to fucking win tonight, no problem.
Yeah,
how can you not want to play for him?
Right, and I mean the fact that the U.S. team had been pretty good, but it's fuck, you're going up against these guys.
Yeah,
the worst possible draw you could get was against the Russians in the semis. I don't know. For me, I think just the fact that I think that's the scene that everybody remembers from this movie too.
Yeah, it might that and probably that call. 5 seconds left. Do you believe in miracles?
Yeah. I would say that's my best my nominee for best theme. So I mean, like, who wins this one to you?
Yeah, it's the one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, it's definitely the speech before they go out on the ice. Because like I said, he just walks out of there cold, and then they just grab their gear. Like, all right, let's go fucking do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then that leads into the whole like I don't know, man. I always get fired up when they have like. I think that's one of the reasons I still watch some of the Olympics is because it's like these countries battle each other in like sport, and like when they're coming out and like everybody's just applauding them, and it's just like, god damn, like these guys weren't supposed to be shit. Here they are playing for like a chance to win the gold medal in hockey.
Bunch of college kids.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's got to be that. I mean, I can't really see anything else topping that.
No, I agree.
Although the game itself is pretty good.
Yeah, how they got the camera down to like ice level, following the puck, and all the players. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is your winner for the I Drink Your Milkshake Award. Is the Kurt Russell, Herb Brooks speech right before the United States goes out and plays the Soviet Union.
Bam.
Well done. Well done. The I Don't Like Sand, It's Coarse and Rough award for the worst or most unnecessary scene in the movie.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Now, for me, I didn't really have a nominee for this because like really isn't anything bad in this, but I will nitpick at the fact that Patricia Clarkson, who's normally a very good actress, kind of gets saddled with the typical movie trope sports wife role of the wife who feels neglected by her husband, who's the coach, because he's devoting more time to his team than to his family, and she kind of is essentially a wet blanket. It happens just so many sports movies. It's like that. It's just like the wife. It's just the role's underwritten. Doesn't really add anything to it. I mean, she's there, but it's just it. I think the only supportive wife in recent memory that I can remember is Dennis Quaid's wife in The Rookie. She tells him to go for it, but outside of that, it seems like that seems to be like an unnecessary movie trope. It's just the wife that just kind of nags at her husband for. I mean, I get it. I mean, I would totally understand their point of view. But it just, I don't know. It just, I really wish that when they make sports movies, they would, give more to these female leads,
Yeah.
Give something to, to work with instead of just like, hey, you're going to play the wife who's aggravated at her husband. Let's see what you can do with it.
Is that the what was officially on the script?
Yeah.
Wife aggravated with husband.
Yeah. Wife showing disgust.
Dissatisfied housewife.
Well, I wouldn't go so
That's
far
how
to say.
pornos start.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's actually probably a series of pornographic movies from Brazzers.
Also, if Brazzers would like to sponsor us, we love you.
Hey, you know what? Money's money at the end of the day.
That's right.
Do you have anything that you would cut out of this movie?
No, even though it's a 2-hour movie, it doesn't feel like it's 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. It's just like it moves along, and like I don't think Patricia Clarkson's bad. It's just like I don't know. That just kind of aggravates me to see like it's the same thing, and no matter what sports movie it is, there's always the wife that just nags at her husband. I just like I really wish that they would give some a little bit more meat on the bone for these actresses to work with versus just playing this typical character,
Yeah, because not everybody's wife just sits there and nags at them for no reason, and it seems
Right.
like that is what happens in there.
Right. The newly christened Dylan, you son of a bitch, award for the best line of the movie.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
I'm curious to hear what you have because mine should be. I pretty much have mentioned it a couple times during this episode already.
Well, just to be, we know what the best line is. It's the most famous line from this movie, from that game. But I wanted to just throw in a different nominee. So when they tied Norway 3-3, I believe it was Norway, and he made them skate out on the ice. There are a couple scenes before that, all the players are introducing themselves, and where they're from, and
where they're saying like, Mike Ruzioni, I think he played for Boston.
Yeah. So when they're all tired and throwing up he had them out on the ice like all night, which, by the way, the director, they did 3 days of 12 hours in a row of them doing that to try to replicate that somewhat. That director is hardcore about it. But Mike Ruzioni yells, "Mike Ruzioni, Winthrop, Massachusetts." Herb Brooks says, "Who do you play for?" And he says, "I play for the United States of America." That moment just gives me goosebumps.
Oh, yeah, that one was really good. And that one got some serious thought for me, too.
And it just, and he finally lets them go shower and get off the ice after that.
Yeah,
that was a really great moment.
I also like when they brought in one of his players late into the camp, and Ruzioni and I think it's McClanahan. I forget. I get the names confused sometimes, but when Herb's questioning, like, why shouldn't I bring him along? He's a hell of a player, and I think he could help us out. And then he says, like, we're a family.
Oh, yeah.
I do like that line, too. For me, though, I think it's do you believe in miracles? Just because that's the most iconic call in the history of sports. Like, that one, the moment itself is top 5, but that line has to be the most iconic line in any sports moment.
Off of my head, I can't really think of a better one right now.
I think that if we put some thought into it, we could probably come up with some that maybe would be in the conversation, but I don't think that they would still trump this one. They turned it into that line's a movie.
Yeah.
And I always like it when they put they somehow shoehorn the title of the movie into some kind of dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was I think that's just the best line. Like you said, it became a movie.
Right. All right. Well, that has to win for sure. I don't have any nominees for the Eric Stoltz Award or the Unsolved Mysteries of the movie, just simply because most of these kids are hockey players.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them. Like, they play hockey well, so I can't, get Ryan Gosling to play McClanahan. Like, no, I can't really see.
And then at the end, it tells you, what they all want to do with their lives, so there's no mystery there.
Right. And, like I said, you know what everybody does afterward. You know what happens to Herb, unfortunately. So I don't have any nominees for those categories. But the McLovin Award.
I am McLovin.
For the Best Supporting Performance, I'm curious to see who you have as your nominee, because I kind of have somebody a little outside the box.
For me, it was between two people, but I settled on Kenneth Welsh as Doc.
Okay.
Just because, the way that he is in this movie, where he cares about the players and he's worried about how hard they're being pushed as college kids and all that stuff. I thought it was really well acted. I felt like he cared as a doctor. I felt like he was a caring doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he played it so well,
Yeah. Come on, Herb. Come on.
And when they were in the car, him and the assistant coach,
Craig Patrick.
They were talking about what did they say? There was like a nuclear bomb test, where I forget the line now, but they were in the car joking around about they were talking about the nuclear bomb test.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was a really good moment too, really funny.
Oh, speaking of Craig Patrick, I think he was the architect of the Penguins teams of the early '90s that were They had Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr and all them, and Ron Francis and all those guys. I think he helped build those. I think he was the GM for those. I know he worked for the Penguins around that time, but I think he was the architect of he built those teams. So
amazing teams.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was my brother's favorite hockey squad. Like my brother was a huge Penguins fan, and that's when he fell in love with that team. Is during that era.
You know how I feel about Pittsburgh. Anything?
I know. Let's just save it. We'll save that for a future program.
Maybe a different spin-off podcast.
Oh, hey, you know what? Maybe Lucas just dropped some breaking news on you. I don't know. Maybe not.
Who do you have for your McLovin?
My nominee is Al Michaels as Al Michaels. He's the fucking soundtrack of this movie, especially like the last 40 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And
nobody plays a better Al Michaels than Al Michaels.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought it was so cool that like he came in and redid his commentary for the movie.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. I just thought like they just took, like I said earlier, I just thought they took clips of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'm maybe stretching out a bit, but like I really couldn't think of anybody that I would nominate for sure. Like I thought about maybe Noah Emmerich as Craig Patrick, because I thought he was kind of a nice counterbalance to Kurt Russell's character. Like,
yeah,
because he even mentions early on, he goes, I'm not here to be their friend. That's basically he's insinuating that's what you're here for.
Right.
Oh, I mean, I kind of liked him in that too, but I don't know. I think just the fact Al Michaels is in this movie, and like I've always been a huge Al Michaels fan. That guy has called so many sporting events my entire life, and the fact he's part of this movie. Like I'm gonna show Al Michaels a little bit of love in this episode. Al Michaels, you're gonna win the McLovin.
There you go. I don't feel like this movie is poorly acted by anybody. So
no, I don't think so either. Yeah.
I mean, all the hockey players, even though this is really their first acting gigs, most of them, you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I thought about real hard nominating Eddie Cahill as Jim Craig, because he's essentially the focal point of the hockey team.
Yeah,
but I think he's in a little too much. But we don't have a certain criteria for this. We kind of, hey, 1 week this guy's in there too much. Oh, by the way, my wife was pretty upset that on last week's episode that the dog didn't get the McLovin.
Whoops.
Yeah. She made it known one night. She's like, you should have given it to the dog.
Oof. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, Jen.
Yeah. After a couple nights on the couch, she forgave me eventually. All right. So are we giving it to Al Michaels then? Or are we going to give it to, who did you say the doctor was played by?
Kenneth Welsh.
Kenneth Welsh, okay.
No, we're going to give it to Al Michaels.
Okay,
and
cool.
even if I did want to give it to Kenneth Welsh, you already given it to Al Michaels. You said we're giving it to him.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Since I own the equipment, we're giving it to Al Michaels.
Yep.
All right, not the Kurt Russell. Might as well just call this the Kurt Russell. But I'm the King of the World award for who wins the movie. King of the World award for who wins the movie. I know I stuttered on that once.
Oh, King of the World.
Who wins it for you?
You know, we were talking about this beforehand, and you made a really strong case for Kurt Russell, which I believe we're going to give it to Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I figured I'd give you a chance to plead your case for somebody else.
Maybe it's just sports movies in general. You know, this really didn't rewrite the script on anything special that a sports movie does, but it doesn't matter because it's so well acted, and you just, the story of the United States and the Soviet Union being in a Cold War, and that supposedly ending when the Berlin Wall came down, but we're kind of back in a Cold War with Russia right now, and just the whole, just the stories of, this would have been 40 years ago. Just the story of, ago. Yeah, 42 years ago. What the world was going through and how even something as small as a hockey game between a bunch of college kids and Soviet professionals was seen as such a big deal. You know, everybody sat down and watched that, even if it was on tape delay and some people knew what happened and all that stuff. It was such a big deal. It was celebrated, and just sports, like I said, sports movies in general, they make you feel good for the most part. You know,
So
there are some.
Are you talking about sports movies in this case, or are you talking about the moment itself, how it
A little
lifted?
bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, I'm specializing it more towards like the moment of the movie. But sports movies in general, I think, always win these type of this type of award.
All right, well, save your thoughts on sports movies. I may be coming up with a bonus category here in a minute.
Oh shit!
For this movie, I'm going to give it to Kurt Russell. I mean, pretty much the minute those of you that have listened to this show on more than one occasion know that I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Kurt Russell's my favorite actor of all time. Fucking love the dude. He's the epitome of cool to me. I was going to give it to him the minute I said we were going to do this. It was basically when I worked the awards, this was working from the bottom up. It's like, he won this. Now I just got to fill in the rest. But I think with this particular movie, this is the script itself, and Kurt Russell's even said, I listened to an interview he did recently. Well, this was a few years ago, but I listened to the interview recently. He did with Bill Simmons, where he talked about how the script was kind of mediocre. And it is. I mean, it's essentially a paint-by-number sports movie. It's like, okay, you get point A, ragtag group of athletes for certain sport, coach who may or may not be, like the right fit. He ends up molding these guys into a good team that believe in themselves, and then they conquer the unconquerable, like David and Goliath type deal. But I think what makes this movie work is the fact Kurt Russell is so believable as Herb Brooks. And I like the fact that most sports movies, the coach kind of seems to be more of a sympathetic character. I've only really seen like when a movie's based on a coach, the only two coaches that I can think of that kind of have this take are Kurt Russell's Herb Brooks, and then Herman Boone, Denzel Washington's the coach he plays in Remember the Titans, where they're kind of hard asses and you kind of don't like them, but you eventually become to know to love them and respect them.
Right.
And I think that was a really good spin on this character, and the fact that it really shows at the end after they win. Like, I really think one of the best scenes in the movie is like after they've won, Herb Brooks goes into the corridor of the arena and like he just lets everything out right then and there, because it's like this culmination of, like he missed his moment as a player, and not a lot of people believe that they would even get this far, and they certainly didn't think they were going to beat the Russian team. And like the fact that all these emotions just come pouring out of him at the end of towards the end.
I like how kind of subdued it was too, because he could have went in the hallway just
screaming and yelling,
screaming, but he didn't. He kind of
shook his hands in the air and kind of did that fist bump thing, and
right.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think for him, and then like I really couldn't see anybody else in this role.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we started. Yeah, and like I said, in the research corner, he did everything left-handed in this movie because Herb Brooks was left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know really anything about Herb Brooks besides what I learned from doing research on this and what I've seen in the movie. But from everything that I've read, the players felt like he nailed that character. Mm-hmm. Besides, a few movie things thrown in there where he was a little more sympathetic, but other than that, he nailed the role and was completely believable, and it felt, kind of took him back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, now that Kurt Russell's won the I'm the King of the World award, I shouldn't even had you just nominate anybody. Like, listen, dude, he's fucking winning.
Well, I think
he might be one of the first two-time winners of that award on this show too, because he won for Escape from New York too.
Yeah.
And we have another Kurt Russell episode coming up soon. I haven't hammered out the details yet, but we're going to be doing another Kurt Russell movie here, I think, in March.
All right.
And no, for those of you listening, it's not Overboard, which I will do at some point. That movie's fucking great. But I promised a brand new category for today's episode. And we're going to do this for any sports movie we do going forward. Does this movie belong in the Sports Movie Hall of Fame?
And it does.
I would agree. Why do you think it gets into the Hall of Fame?
Well, just the fact that this is a real event, and it felt like a real event. It was written like a real event. It didn't feel, as we said, it doesn't do anything any different than any other sports movie, but it does it more excellently than most sports movies.
I know for me, the criteria would be, does it have a memorable scene where you would hear it on a scoreboard in an arena?
Yep.
Which it does. It has the Herb Brooks speech. Like I said, I've seen it at least twice at hockey games. Yeah, I'm sure it's been played in other arenas as well. Another criteria, we'll hammer these criterias out, add more as we think more about this. Is it one of the best in the sport that it takes place in? Like with a baseball movie as an example, I would say that Major League, which is an episode that we have done, would be a sports movie Hall of Fame surefire. It's going in.
Right.
But then you take something like Little Big League, good movie, good baseball movie, but I would consider that one of the best in the baseball movie genre.
Right.
And for this one, there hasn't been a lot of hockey movies made. The only ones I can think of off the top of my head are Miracle, Slapshot, Goon, and The Mighty Ducks. So I'm going to expand it to incorporate anything. Oh, there's Mystery Alaska too, which is actually an underrated hockey movie. But I'm going to expand this into the winter sports realm. So that could be anything from like hockey, figure skating, skiing. Let's see, I said ice. Did I say ice skating? Figure skating? Yeah. So I mean, that opens it up to like Blades of Glory, The Cutting Edge, Cool Runnings, Downhill
Great
Racer, and plus those hockey movies I mentioned. But yeah, I would say it does because it's probably a cut above the rest of them. I mean, in terms of hockey, for me, it's Slapshot and Miracle, or like the top of the hockey, the winter movie genre. Which you've never seen Slapshot, have you?
No, but I have seen Goon.
Yeah, Goon's pretty good.
I've seen Cutting Edge. I've seen
Cool Runnings. I know you've seen The
Cool
Mighty
Runnings.
Ducks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think I would argue The Mighty Ducks belongs in there as well.
I don't know. It's an interesting case. It's an interesting case. It sounds like if we were baseball writers, we'd have to really dig deep, and start breaking it down into sabermetrics. Like, what was the Mighty Ducks war? If you'd replaced Emilio Estevez with Charlie Sheen, would this be a better movie? Or if we, just did just if we broke it down sabermetrically like they do in baseball, we'd have to really dig deep into the Mighty Ducks.
Well, we do have a lot of friends that are big sports fans. So maybe we could, maybe when we're nominating these movies, we can get their input.
Well, yeah, we can also have them incorporate more into the, into the categories, like what would make this a sports movie Hall of Fame candidate as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Circling back, I agree that this movie definitely belongs in the Sports Movie Hall of Fame.
In the pantheon of great sports movies.
It's going in the Couch Potato Sports Movie Hall of Fame.
That's true. And actually, I think I'm going to start putting up a weekly poll question just for some of the other sports movies we've done to see if they warrant because we've done The Replacements, Major League, The Karate Kid. I consider a sports movie because it takes place at a fucking karate tournament.
Yeah, I mean, karate is a sport.
Yeah.
Is a sport.
But yeah, I'll put a poll question, see if some of the other movies we've done recently would go in as well. So, yeah, I'd say for sure Miracle is a surefire candidate. Next week's episode, I'm not quite sure that makes it into the Sports Movie Hall of Fame, but it's a fun movie, so I'll save that for we end this. But before we wrap things up, Lucas, you got anything you want to add before we go today?
No. I definitely believe that if you haven't seen this, you should check it out. It is a very good movie. It's a very feel-good movie. And it teaches you a little bit about history, which I love so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can watch it on Disney Plus. So you can watch it just before the Olympics start. So, hey, maybe this will inspire you to watch the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, you're welcome, Olympics, for us getting people to watch.
Yeah, NBC, throw some cash. I'll even take it in those big sacks that have like the dollar bill signs on them.
We almost sound like we're really desperate, like we're gonna go like off the air if we don't get a sponsor.
I know we won't, but funny story. This is completely off topic, but my wife listened to a paranormal podcast. It's called Scared, where this dude in Britain essentially used it as a platform to beg for money. He would tell scary stories and then just come up with a different sob story each week where he needed money. Whether his house was getting, his house was getting repoed. There was one where his cats had some kind of disease that needed like immediate medical attention. He needed to buy his son a Christmas gift. I mean, it was just one thing after another. And it makes it sound like he just wanted paid to do his episodes, which, I mean, at the end of the day, that would be fucking awesome if we get paid to do it. But I'm also not going to sit here like, listen, guys, for $5, like,
I will remember you.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to throw me in a cage or not, but yeah, like, it was just a different sob story every week. And I mean, at the end of the day, that'd be awesome. We got paid for it, but I'm not going to sit there like we're doing all right.
We're always joking, unless people really did throw money at us.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to sponsor the show, hey, I'm all cool about that. I will hawk your wares like nobody's business. I will be the ultimate hype man. So just think about that when you listen to this episode. Hopefully Tuesday. It might be out Wednesday. I don't know. Seems like there's one roadblock after another. But anyways, if you don't have anything else to add, I'm good. So we will talk at you guys later. Bye, everybody. And that's going to wrap up today's episode. We do appreciate you guys spending just a little part of your day with us. Coming up next week, it's the football movie you guys voted for just in time for the upcoming Super Bowl. We're going to do Draft Day, which stars Kevin Costner, and it's a fictitious tale of a general manager who makes the Cleveland Browns a winner. So that ought to be fun, and the fact that Lucas is a Cleveland Browns fan ought to make this episode just a little better. So be sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Google, or wherever you get podcasts. So until next Tuesday, we will talk at you guys later.